Uh, so we're starting off with Layla. Layla, are you with? All right. The last thing you remember, a lot of it's really hazy. The clearest thing you last remember is wandering around the Amber Temple in Barovia. But you have foggy and slippery memories that you know happened after that, but you just can't grasp. It's almost like a hangover with the scattered shots of what happened after you got really drunk. And you see yourselves and your companions uh, finally confronting that seemingly elven man, uh, fighting him, discovering that weird shadowy form that came out of him, that weird red shadowy form, fighting that, and you have this vague notion of somehow what felt like stepping through a portal into some sort of workshop. There was this huge crystal that seemed to have a skeleton in it, this weird glowing other stone, other crystal that was small, kind of palm sized, that glowed with rainbows. Um, you don't remember exactly what happened, other than this feeling of your whole body seizing up, and suddenly there was this man standing there, goatee, dark hair with a little bit of salt and pepper in it, and you remember him saying something like, "Thank you for helping me with this," and him taking the strange rainbow-colored crystal. It seems like you were trying to resist him, like you felt like maybe there was something wrong here, like maybe part of your mind was trying to snap you back, saying, this isn't right." And you remember the back of your hand with that weird clock symbol on it burning, and that's possibly what's. Yes, actually, turtle, it is. Um, you remember your hand burning and yourself falling, falling, falling into what felt like a lake of stars. Like you could feel yourself hitting water with a kind of a bit of a splash, but it still felt like you were floating in emptiness, nothingness. But you could feel that your form had returned to what it used to be. Your elven form. And that clock on the back of your hand, it's burned out. There's now just a bunch of ash on the back of your hand. There's also a small splash next to you. That would be you, Kyver. From wherever you just were, perhaps you were asleep, perhaps you were walking somewhere, and the next thing you knew, mists were surrounding you, pulling you, and you were falling into water. What do you do?
If I look over, is the person next to me awake?
Kyver, are you awake?
Forgot my mic was muted.
Damn.
Am I awake or am I just floating there?
I'd imagine that you're awake unless you wanted your character to be asleep, so. You just suddenly felt the sensation of falling, and suddenly you're in mist-shrouded water.
Probably gonna wake up. If he was asleep, he'd be sputtering and kind of like frantically paddling, just looking around like, what the hell? How did I get here? Is anybody there? Can anybody hear me?
Do you know where we are?
Oh, but I know where we are. I can barely see where we are.
Oh, God. Okay. Can I look around? Is it just, like, emptiness?
Roll perception checks. It is dark, but you can tell that there's mist around you. You're kind of familiar with that mist, but you're in water. and it's not as cold as you might expect. Like, it's not as cold as if you fell off the Tizer Falls, or anything like that. And there's a low thrumming noise that seems to be getting slightly louder.
Do you hear that?
Kavier's gonna kind of look around and then swim towards the other person, trying to kind of get a look at them in the mist. I was walking down the street and I suddenly was here. I don't know what's going on. All I remember is mists.
Walking down the street where?
My hometown.
That wouldn't happen to be Barovia, right?
I've never heard of that place in my life.
Okay, great. Where?
Insert JPEG of town map here. It is my hometown of Lumbridge. I just fucking pulled a name out of my ass. God, that's from fucking RuneScape. Jesus.
Can't hear you at all.
Can't hear me?
Yeah,
I
you
can
just
hear
like
you.
faded into nothing. Like,
Oh, that sucks.
By next time we play, I'll actually have a backstory and have thought this through a bit more. There we go.
Alright, so yeah, Kyver, you find yourself swimming in up next to this elven woman who seems to be drenched by the waters you've both landed in. She's also got this weird mark on the back of, I believe it was a left hand, if I'm not mistaken. That looks like something just recently burned off of it. And there's only like this weird sooty imprint now.
His eyes are gonna kind of flash with a brief iridescence as he just kind of gives her a look over. Take my hand, let's get out of this water. And he extends his arm out.
I'm gonna do a quick once over. Who am I looking at? What's this guy look like?
So Kyvir is you see like black, dark gray skin. He's got like medium length silver hair. He's got these kind of almost scarred horns curling along the back of it, like out of his forehead, like his temples along the back of his head. He seems to be wearing some kind of cloak, and his image kind of like flickers a bit if you look at him for too long. Seems, late 20s, decent build, decent height. You do note that he has like iridescent blue eyes, like almost a faint glow to them as he looks. And as he speaks, you can kind of see these small fangs along his teeth. They're not quite normal shaped. They're more pointed. And he's holding out a kind of a gloved hand to you.
Yeah, let's find a way out of here.
Do you take his hand?
I take his hand.
All right. With a mighty drive and willpower, he's going to fly upwards into the air.
And as you're doing that, you hear that sound just coming closer and closer, more humming, and it definitely sounds like something chopping through the water. And as you
Can I look around towards where it is?
Sure. And as you guys are lifting up into the air, you see that there's a craft approaching. A very strange craft. It sort of looks like a ship, but also at the same time, it has a very unusual design. With some kind of engine noise rather than sails.
Do you have any idea what that is?
I have not seen something like that before in my life. I do not quite know what that is. Shall we go have a look?
I mean, it's better than waiting in water, yeah.
He's going to kind of go into like a diving roll and just kind of head over towards the ship.
Now I would like the other two players to roll perception checks. Devotion, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll. Walter isn't loading. He has a perception too that he's going to roll.
All right,
And that should not be advantage.
that's okay. You rolled the same thing twice.
Query edge. I don't know. Walter's not loading. He's just spinning. What's wrong with you, Walter? Oh.
And what about you, Devotion?
I didn't see it.
I see the light like they're talking, but I don't hear anything.
Yeah, same.
Sorry.
There we go.
When I click on the skill, it just does nothing. So I don't know.
Roll 20 issue tonight, huh? All right.
I guess. Well, I can roll it this way, I guess. Boy, it's really lagged.
Yeah. So, Charlie and Devotion, you and your crew, under the direction of your captain, have been heading in this direction since you got the sense of a nearby, well, not exactly portal is the wrong word, but it's the only real word you have for when somebody gets pulled in by the mist and dropped into the endless mist ocean. If you're close enough by, you can pick it up on your instruments. And you happen to pick up one such flare-up. And so, in heading that direction, you suddenly see two figures just kind of floating up from the water. What do you guys do?
I just sat in my spot and watched them float up in the air.
I'm going to call it out because they don't usually do things like that. She's gonna call out. Looks like we got some lively ones this time.
The captain puts a one of those spyglasses to his eye, just kind of stares up at them, and he grins widely. Of course, he typically grins considering his face, and just kind of looks back. Well, those look like they could be good assets to the crew. It's not like they'll find any other dry spaces to land anywhere nearby. Charlie, Devotion, do you think either of you can persuade these two unusual specimens into coming down?
I can try, Captain, but I'm not very likable to most kind.
I'm gonna send Walter over to buzz them.
All right.
There we
You
go.
guys see this?
There's a whole
teeny-
bunch of checks there.
Jesus. Yeah. So you two see some. It looks like a tiny little like alligator, but it's got like dragonfly wings, and it kind of buzzes around you.
Kugger's gonna do like a crazy barrel roll maneuver and just accelerate away from it towards the ship.
Layla's gonna scream.
We're going to go fast as fuck, boy.
Look, I get it, and I appreciate you helping me, but can we not do that?
I'm gonna cast grease on the deck where they're gonna land.
I'm gonna fucking hover before actually setting foot on the boat.
Well, what about you, Layla? You're not used to flying.
Nope, I'm not.
So, as you try to land, Layla, please give me a dexterity saving throw.
What the fuck was that? That was broken. Please say again.
For Layla, can you please give me a dexterity saving throw?
Can anybody actually understand them?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. think it's you. Grizz is asking for a dex saving
That might be
throw
on my end. Hang on, be right back.
All right.
But yeah, I'm gonna guess your trajectory and cast Grease where you're about to land because
I think I need to reload Roll20. It's really lagged.
And I'm gonna hop in and out of message here just in case.
that's an int roll for their to determine their landing spot and
Sure. And that you landed perfectly. You're. 1 second. Testing.
Hello.
you're fine for me. I don't. It must be them.
Yeah, but since people seem to hear me roboting, it was better to reload it.
I mean, you've done some weird like fade in, fade out stuff early on, but you're fine now.
Have to wait for it to load, I guess. It's going to be really slow load here. There we go.
Alright, so I'm happy to be on their end for the router reboot.
Yeah.
Doing okay there, Emily? Or are you having robot too?
I turned off my Wi-Fi and switched to my phone, so my audio might be bad for you all, but you guys are clear now.
Yeah, you sound
It
fine.
sounds okay. And I'm still waiting for
Okay.
you to roll dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry, I missed that bit.
Yep.
Alright, so you land on the grease, skid a little bit, but don't fall prone. However,
Charlie's just gonna giggle and be like, "This one looks like she's pretty spry," and she reaches into a little pouch on her belt and pulls out a handful of something and like throws it up in the air around her. And she's like, "Welcome, new friend," and it's just like confetti.
Layla covers her nose and mouth for a second. I don't know what you're throwing in the air for a second, then I process.
Yeah, it's just like confetti. It's like paper flakes, and they sort of drift down and then like disappear before they even really touch you. They're like an illusion magic type thing.
Hi.
Hello.
Look, I could go straight into the barrage of questions, but I guess I'll start with this. Where are we?
You're on our ship.
you are on the Dauntless. And to answer your questions, you're in the Mist Ocean. And Layla, as you might turn to look to see who's talking, you see what appears to be a large shark man who's just lowering a spyglass.
Looks very friendly. Right, okay. Mist Ocean. Okay. What does that mean? What is that?
Ah, it's one of the ways through and around the Shadowfell, especially when it comes to the domains of dread.
Charlie's gonna scrutinize her for a second, and she'd be like, "Are you new here, or are you passing through from another domain? Like, is this your first time?"
I, yeah, I was in Barovia, not by choice, and I was with others, but it doesn't really look like they're around, and I don't know where I am or how to get out. So, yeah, new, I guess, new. You could say that, new.
I'm assuming Charlie knows a little bit about the various domains.
Yeah, you can do a history check to see if you know anything about Barovia in particular.
Let's see. I'm not very good at history, but I do have a higher int. And that should not be an advantage.
Yeah. You think about it for a moment and go, yeah, that's a place with vampires, kind of difficult to get in and out of. Seems to reset in time periodically.
But I would know that we essentially got one of Strahd's toys, right?
Yeah. It happens.
So
It,
she would kind of giggle and be like, "Oh boy, we got one of Strahd's toys." I hear that really pisses him off.
I am back, and you guys don't sound like robots anymore.
Woot!
Hey.
No, it's really
No,
weird
it's-
because my sheet is set to normal rolls, but it keeps rolling advantage. So I don't know. Just ignore it.
Well,
I don't know
it's not showing advantage here. It's just showing the two rolls. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing one
Oh, okay.
over the other. I'm just seeing two
Weird.
rolls.
Do you want it set to 2 rolls, or do you?
I like it two rolls just in case there's a sneaky
Okay.
roll where
No.
where
Okay.
your backstory there's some lore that I don't want to let you know offhand that you might actually have advantage on. Because if I told you, you'd be able to guess.
All right, so I guess we got to do the dex roll for the other guy too.
No, he's hovering. He stated he was just hovering.
Yeah, I would have flown down and essentially like introduced myself and asked permission to come aboard
Ah,
before
yes.
putting
he's
down
getting
my
a handful of
before-
confetti chucked in his face too.
putting my
Permission granted, says the large shark man.
Who are you again?
my name is Kaivir.
Ah. My name is Devotion.
Pleasure to meet you. And he holds out his hand.
And you kind of watch this tiefling that seems to have a permanent smirk on her face. It says, "Ah, you like to shake hands, do ya? Well, good luck with that one."
The other tiefling chuckles back at you. He's gonna kind of lightly land on like the railing or something where there's not a layer of grease.
Oh no, it's a 10-foot square.
Well, then he's going to land somewhere where there's not a 10-foot square of grease.
These smaller blue-haired tiefling. She's like pretty short. She's like 5'1", frizzy blue hair, little tiny horns that you can are just barely poking out of her hair. Like she'd look fairly normal if it wasn't for the tail and the teeny tiny horn. But she's short and kind of chunky, and has the typical frizzy inventor's hair, I guess, if you.
So we've got a shark guy, an elf, a tiefling, another tiefling,
Yeah, too many tieflings.
and
No, the
Those
bunch
are
of these are
crew,
NPC
random
crew
crew.
members.
oh, crow. Okay.
Like the big shark guy's the captain.
Ah.
And he's coming over and like staring you down with his eyes. Ah, it's good to see some new recruits.
Kavir's gonna kind of like give him a sidelong glance and kind of flash almost a wicked smile.
Charlie is going to set to prestidigitating the deck clean so she doesn't get in trouble.
Yeah, you do have one of the other deckhands is kind of eyeing you because this is not like the first time that you've spilled stuff on the deck.
Like, stop making a mess of the deck, damn it!
She's cleaning up after herself.
But she's been there longer than some of them, so.
Yeah, I just imagine her taking her little homunculus and like pulling on his tail and like turning him into a little vacuum cleaner, and like using him to vacuum up the deck. Grease up the deck, yeah.
Yeah, he's a cute little winged alligator.
He looks
It's really
he looks like a
cute.
little alligator with purple eyes, and he has like dragonfly wings that are like that fold up along his back. Because they have to have a flying speed apparently. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, but it's just kind of like perfect to see an alligator with wings, especially a small one.
Kavir's own wings, which are kind of like they're black and leathery, slightly torn near the edges in some places, will just kind of like fold along his back and be hidden by his cloak.
So, what world are you from? The large shark man asks. Any place interesting?
I come from a town called Lumbridge. I believe it is what you would call the material plane.
Yeah, that's not a world, though. That's a whole plane. I'm sure you guys are from the material plane, but where? Any place interesting?
Well, we don't really have a name for our world, so to say. We more have countries and territories, but not so much a whole world. If we do, it is guarded by some nasty critters that guard a large boundary.
And what about you, elf? Where do you come from?
I can assure you it's nowhere as interesting as here. Small town in the middle of nowhere, not worth thinking about, I guess, because we're out here. Where are we? Mist Ocean. Yeah, okay.
It looks like we are still in the middle of nowhere. You should feel right at home.
Don't worry, we'll be somewhere soon.
Where? Somewhere? And also, we should talk about that recruit thing. What does that mean?
Oh, well, I could always use some more hands on my crew, and you both look capable. Either magic user or just ability to fly. He kind of looks you over, Kyver. That's very useful.
Flashes his wings out again and kind of gives a more upright, proud stance. Natural ability.
Still, that's quite useful for getting in and out of certain places. Though, less so when if it's too bulky. Sometimes tight passages do not fare well with wings.
I am very skilled at flying, and when in doubt, and he folds up his wings again into the cloak, I always have the option to walk.
Yes. So, this is my ship, the Dauntless. This is my crew. You can call us pirates if you like. A lot of people that have just come aboard use that term frequently, but we're also treasure hunters and explorers. Some seem to like that title much better.
Respectable businessmen, one and all.
Good, glad you see it that way. Now, I'd like to give a little test to each of my new potential recruits. And he looks at both of you up and down. It looks like you have potential cargo to spare, which is good. I am going to send you somewhere where I'm going to be able to evaluate whether or not you can make it through some caverns. Make it through a maze of sorts. Traps, monsters, and whether or not you are overly greedy.
Okay. So,
Sounds like an interesting adventure.
yeah, it sounds very interesting. Where is this happening? Are we likely to die? Like, let's have some details, please.
Not everyone comes back. Some are overeager, miss traps that can kill them, or get greedy and awaken the monsters at the end, at the particular treasure hold. But all you really need is something you feel is equal to trade at the end. For that, I'm going to be taking you to Benderfield's caves. It is one of the many domains. This one, a pirate set up long ago, with shifting tunnels, traps, and many undead minions. All to guard treasure. Of course, if you only take a little and replace it with some of your own, he's usually able to look the other way and won't send his forces after you. If you, on the other hand, very greedy after taking the treasure and decide that you're not going to give your own or take more than your due, well, those sorts rarely come back. So, what do you think? Are you willing to take up take up my offer of employment, or shall I just leave you back in the water for now?
It kind of sounds like the choice has been made, yeah?
Oh no, so there's always a possibility you might find yourself in another domain of dread, of course, and go on from there without my help. Or you can always just go back into the water and fend for yourself, but he kind of shrugs his big shoulders. So that is still your choice, and afterwards, if you decide you don't want to be one of us, well, we can take you to an actual port, where you can find alternate transportation.
The iridescent slight glow in Kyvira's eyes flares up briefly as he gives another smile. It sounds very interesting. Might as well give it a shot. What is the worst that can happen?
Well, we'll die, but, that's fine.
Death is no matter. We all die someday. Sometimes some people die more than others, depending on the magic capabilities of their friends.
And sometimes death is merely a roadblock.
Death is a gateway to a whole nother life.
Well, here in the Shadowfell, it is not always a pleasant after.
Ah! We're in the Shadowfell.
Yes, I did mention that a few times, didn't I? He kind of looks over at the rest of his crew. I did say Shadowfell, or at least Domains of Dread, which he kind of says and looks back at Kyber. I take it you were unaware of such things.
Perhaps he didn't listen, Captain.
Apologies. Wind in my ears. As he kind of reaches in and kind of does the finger rotating in his ear like he's cleaning out earwax. I've heard tales of such place, but first time being in one. Usually you have to want to go there to open a portal of such, yes?
Not necessarily. Sometimes the Shadowfell just pulls people in. It's hard to tell what the pattern is.
I guess I was one that was so lucky.
Every member of my crew fell in at some point and joined up.
Probably would just nod solemnly. She's just like, I don't know how I got here either.
I willingly joined.
He looks back at Devotion. Why don't you get our new guests set up in a place to sleep and some food? And I will see that we're setting sail for the caves.
Hi, Captain. I'll show them to a room and get them some food. Not sure how to do that.
Yeah, that's just on the section over here. Spaces for sleeping, spaces for cooking. I'm putting this over here as the engines, by the way.
Sorry. Sorry, I got distracted by a PM.
Yeah, I'm assuming that if I don't have a task, I am back down with the engine. I like to play with the engine. I haven't blown it up yet.
As Kyvir is following along, he has a very distinctive sway to him, almost like a falling stagger as he walks. But you can almost catch his tail doing a off balancing weight distribution to keep him balanced while he has almost like a almost like he's on a very heavily rocking ship.
Yeah, and this one doesn't rock quite as much as some might. It's fairly. There is that hum, of course, but most of the sound seems to be shunted to the outside, except for, of course, directly in the engine room with Charlie.
Yeah, once I find the bed, I point to a bed and say, "That's your bed. Are you happy with it?"
Very much so.
Okay.
Are there any that are like specifically taken by people, or is it just grab one?
It's pretty much grab one in this sort of environment.
I would also show Layla a bed as well.
I mean, typically on a ship like that, like you got like 10 beds and 20 crew, and you just rotate.
Yeah.
Like, basically these areas here and here are the two, general people sleep, and other ones are like these quarters and such. Along the side here would be like for the important crew members, like captain and bosun and first mate and such.
Layla's gonna plop herself down on a bed and start rubbing her temples, but then she's gonna pull out her left hand and take a closer look at it. She's gonna wipe away some of the ash. Is it like the clock like burned into her skin, or like what's left there?
It's as if the clock was burned out from underneath the skin without touching the top layer, so that there's ash possibly, but it seems to be under several layers of skin, just like the seemingly moving tattoo was beforehand.
Oh boy! All right. She's just gonna absent-mindedly pick at it, but she'll sit there.
Kevier's gonna kind of like sit there, little playing with his little pet scorpion.
All the time, Devotion just sits there and smirks at you.
You seem very friendly about something there, Devotion.
Nah, I'm not friendly at all. I'm just here to rest.
So what can you tell me about this captain?
What do I know about the captain?
Well, you know that he seems to be pretty fair. When he says that if these guys, after the initiation, decide that they don't want to stay with the crew, he'll just let them off at the next port. In fact, any member of the crew, if they want to get off at the next port, can do so. It's more like if you're in the middle of the ocean, you've got to do what he says. But once you're off the port, it's like, yeah, you get whatever share of the loot you get coming to you. And if you're coming back, you're coming back. If not, well, we're sailing at this particular day and time, sort of thing.
Okay, I tell him that pretty much. That thing.
You also don't want to come up and start poking at him, especially if you're small enough to swallow.
No, he would actually know that I don't poke. If somebody angers me, I use my inflict wounds to make them regret that.
Do you see much combat on this ship?
Oh, now and then. I'm more what you would call a healer, I suppose.
Ah, are you one of those churchy types?
No, I'm a sorcerer.
Ah. Always good to have a magic user on hand.
Some of them can be quite quirky at times.
And what about you, Elf? Layla was your name.
Uh, I mean, in terms of magic, I'm not uh, too skilled. I can heal, but I mainly shoot. I'm very good with a bow.
Ah,
Yeah, I was a hunter. This is a different.
well, think about it this way. If we get into a fight, you'll be hunting people while they try to hunt you back.
Yeah, no, I've come to terms with that one. But what about you? What do you do?
He kind of flashes a slightly wicked grin and his eyes slightly flare up again. Well, I fly, and he kind of holds up his hands that are, you see, like dark leather gloves trailing into like leather bindings that go up his forearms on each side. Simplest terms, I hit things. Quite a lot.
I mean, effective if you're hunting people, yeah.
It can be very effective. But if the time does not call for action, then the time does not call for action. The balance between diplomacy and action must be carefully guarded.
Agreed. Where we're heading, though, what did the captain say about undead? Is that something we have to worry about, or is that like after we take the treasure, if we take too much, they come after us, or we just like kill an undead? Like, what's happening, man?
All right. So, from what Devotion would know on this, is that while some undead tend to wander around the various always shifting caves, uh, that if the treasure is stolen and not respected, that some rather nasty stuff supposedly happens. Although, of course, Devotion has never seen that part because no one ever comes back when that happens.
Mm. Just, so if you take the treasure, something bad's supposed to happen, but I don't know what it is.
You said something about leaving your own treasure when you take the treasure from wherever we are going. These caves.
He did, yes.
Interesting.
I guess it all depends on what you treasure, doesn't it?
Ah. That is what it all comes down to. And what about that other tiefling we saw? The one with the little alligator thing.
Charlie?
What is her deal?
I suppose you probably ought to talk to her about it, not to me. I'm not Charlie. I don't tell her secrets.
Straightforward. I like that in a person. Do you know where it would be best to find her?
Probably playing with the engine.
And that would be...
Kind of point towards where the engines are.
He's gonna kind of head out and like knock at each set of doors before he goes through. Getting to this one, He can probably like feel the vibrations at this point, knowing like this is the door, right?
Yeah, there would definitely be the sounds of the vibrations if that close to the engine room.
He'll knock a bit louder and then just kind of like actually wait for an answer instead of just like going in.
Yeah, I don't know if she would actually answer, like, because she could.
She gets hyper focused.
Walter might notice. Walter might answer the door.
A little alligator.
I don't know how easy it is for Walter to answer the door.
I imagine that after all this time spent in this room, that you would have arranged for counterweights on this side.
Yeah,
so
there's
that
like
Walter
a little
could
like
open
pull
the door.
thing for this thing to open the door. And there's this tiny little thing looking up at you. Blinks one eye at a time.
Pleasure to meet you.
It just sort of like glances at you and then glances at Charlie, who's like pretty much like, you know, like you see a mechanic hanging out of a hood of from the hood of a car. You just see the back end, and then it just like wobbles over back over there. Like, you're here, the door's open.
Yeah,
Good luck
he'll
getting her
take
attention.
that as an invitation and kind of like step in. So your name is Charlie, Devotion said.
You know, the whole like startled, hit the head on the hood of the car. You know, that's that whole bit. Yeah, that's what happened.
Whack!
Yeah, pretty much. She frowns and rubs her head, frowns and like closes the little compartment she was working on. And she just nods. She's like, "Can I help you?"
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. The name's
Oh,
Kaivir.
hi, Charlie. That's right. You were the one who didn't want to play with the grease.
Interesting little trick, but I like to keep my footing. Which is an interesting thing to say because he has, even when like standing flat on the deck or on the floor, he kind of has like a little sway to him, almost like the ship is rocking underneath him, but it's not.
She kind of frowns. She's like, "Well, the new recruits aren't any fun if they don't let me haze them."
Eh. I guess you'll just have to be more creative about it then, yes? He gives her kind of like a playful chuckle.
She's just gonna like kind of smirk, and she's like, "That's a challenge you probably don't want to make."
So what is this? And he kind of like nods his head towards the engine. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
It's she kind of like seems to have trouble articulating what it is. It makes this ship go through the mist. It lets like you wouldn't be able to do it without this.
Hmm.
And she's like, I sort of know how it works. I sort of. She like scratches her head. She's like, if it's humming the right way, it works. And it's just like kind of shrugs. Like I said, it makes the boat go.
Fair enough. Well, as long as this is
It's like she
working.
does know how it works, but she doesn't know how to explain it how it works. Like articulate it.
So what is
Okay.
the general plan of this boat? Like where do you go? What do you do?
I mean, we just go through the mists and visit all the random domains and take what we can and stay alive.
Are there things in the mist?
It's generally safer, but not always. I'm assuming there's things in the mist.
Yeah, there are various monsters out in the water. People are more likely to accidentally end up in a random domain where they can't leave again if they just stay out in the mist and aren't in like a vessel.
Yeah. She's like, I'd rather deal with the monsters that are out in the mist, though, than some of those dreadlords.
Dreadlords.
She kind of shivers.
What are dreadlords?
They're the ones that kind of rule their little pockets of this place. I'm assuming she knows enough, maybe,
Yeah,
to like.
and you can roll your history or arcana for some better information.
Oh, sorry, that shouldn't have been whispered, but I was messing with.
Was
some
it
spells,
supposed to
but-
be, by the way, advantage?
Okay, so I guess.
I mean, was it?
20 then.
I'm just curious.
I just had. Yeah, it was on advantage. But I whispered it by accident.
Okay. So she would know that, yeah, that there are various like people running domains, but she's observed from various people talking that have that sail between domains, or or the various mistwalkers, especially like the Vistani who can walk through the mists at will. That a lot of the people who quote unquote visibly rule their various domains are in many ways prisoners themselves of some other dark power.
She gets the general gist of how they work. Like, someone did something that makes them like get pulled here, and it's like it's both it's like a gilded cage almost, I guess. Like, they're
Yeah.
ruler of their domain, but they can't get out.
You're the ruler of your own prison cell.
Pretty much, you're the king of your own hell, kind of. But yeah. But
Now
she would sort
that's
of
a very
explain-
apt description. King of your
Yeah.
own hell.
Yeah, so she would be like, yeah, they kind of, the ship helps with that, though. Like, sometimes you go into them and you can't get out. Like, I'm really surprised that elf girl got out of Barovia. That place is, yeah. She kind of.
What is Barovia?
It's like vampires and werewolves and like the guy like was in love with this woman and she killed herself, and then he just keeps getting reincarnated in there or something, and he can't ever have her. So, but I heard he really likes to fuck with people that get in there because he's really bored.
So
I
it's
mean, a
all the
lot of the dreadlords are like that.
it's all the dark creatures of the night, and he kind of like does the like spooky gesture, like as he says that.
She's just like, yeah, the worst one's the one with the clowns, though. She just kind of like grimaces. I mean, there's infinite domains of dread. I'm sure there's one with clowns.
You do know at some point I'm going to have to bring you to a place with clowns.
Oh, I
right?
know.
Absolutely.
I've already suggested that you take us to the clown one, or a clown one. I don't think there's one in the book.
I have plans. But first, first, yeah. Go ahead.
Twisted Circus. Yeah.
Yeah, the Twisted
Domain.
Circus is one of the main ones I have plans to shut you off to at some point.
But foreshadowing, the clown one's really scary. She's like, but usually he doesn't make me leave the boat, so I don't have to worry about too much of that.
That is fair. Did you have to do the trial as well?
Did she have to do the trial? I'm assuming yes.
I
I don't know. She was like,
I think at least at one point, like maybe a few years ago, because you were rather young when you first ended up here, that the captain took pity on you, or somebody in the crew took pity on you originally. But after you kind of came of age, you had to go on the quest too, and so you've been in there before, and it's not the funnest experience, and occasionally members of the crew need to be sent along to babysit the new recruits, especially with the only means of getting back out.
yeah.
Do you have any insider information you can share? Tips, tricks, things to avoid?
I mean, just keep on your toes. There's like you said, there's lots of traps.
He kind of chuckles and his wings unfurl and he hovers slightly in the air.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. If you got a flap, you're not gonna be able to flap over all of them. There's some
It has
pretty
its
tight
moments,
spaces.
but I will have to keep that in mind. Thank you. If you need any help with the humming, haven't really had much experience, but I'll lend a hand where I can.
He kind of frowns and like doesn't seem sure about letting somebody else touch it.
If
Like
not,
that's their baby.
that is perfectly fine too. And he kind of like raises his hands in that like backing off, surrendering motion of just like, hey, not gonna touch it. Anyway,
She's just gonna cock her head like and glance at the engine and then like sort of shoo you away. Like it like
pleasure to meet you, Charlie. And he holds out his hand to shake her hand before he goes.
she kind of looks at it and like and frowns for a second, but she does shake your hand. Like it's not a common gesture, I think. for her.
What is with people in this place not wanting to shake hands? That is common courtesy in my realm. Back
Well,
home.
you never know when it's gonna be a tentacle or something.
I assure you, it's just a hand. He'll kind of chuckle and then head back out. Eventually, make his way back to the room. Well,
Sounds
don't know about
fake.
the rest of you. Don't know about the rest of you, but if we're not heading to immediately to some place, then I shall get some rest until I'm needed.
Yeah, some rest. That's probably a good idea. I'm gonna do that too. It's been a long day. Days? It's been a long time.
I legit think that Charlie is so OCD that she strings up a hammock in the engine room.
It's like fucking.
I imagine so.
Was it Kaylee from Firefly? That's
I
literally
know
what
that
I'm imagining.
she's like a obsessive. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a good analogy.
That's literally what I'm imagining with the entire thing. Kyvier will attempt to get some sleep then.
All right. So eventually, like you go to sleep. Eventually, your sleep cycle ends without any really bad dreams, thankfully for you guys. And you hear the sounds of people outside leaving the bunk room area and what smells like a meal getting put together. Mostly the smell of porridge meets your nose instead of anything really interesting. But some people are hanging out in the mess hall, in the mess area, and getting some food in before they head up to do their various shift and rotations. Others are coming back from whatever duties they had overnight to settle into bunks. What are the rest of you doing?
Actually, go down to the mess for now.
Yeah, if I hear people getting food and stuff, I'll go get some and I'll find a place in the corner and I'm just gonna kind of people watch.
Kevir would get some food and then head up onto deck, kind of look around as he's eating, staying kind of off to the side so he's out of the way, but just looking around into the mists and just kind of observing the crew as they go about their business. Giving the captain a few looks over just to kind of get a feel for his demeanor.
How about you and Devotion and Charlie?
It is morning now, technically.
Well, it's not any lighter outside, but
Yeah, but
You're-
like as far as day-night cycles go, it's the after sleep cycle.
yes.
Yeah, I'm heading over to wherever my position is during the day.
I would imagine Charlie would emerge to get some quote-unquote air on the deck. He
And you
isn't allowed
find
to
that
pull
there
it
is
up.
actually a bit of light eking in. And what looks like in front of you, a large rock face. In some ways, it kind of resembles a skull, except without any eye holes. Like there's a huge gaping mouth, and what looks like a lifted bit of nostril, but no eyes, no ears, no other defining features. Just a kind of a round, bulbous, large rock face that the ship is currently coming up towards the entrance to the caves that you were promised. Ah, good. You're all awake. I hope you have eaten.
Kevir kind of finishes his food and quickly runs the dishes down to the mess and then comes back up.
I imagine Charlie's just sleepily chewing on some kind of like ration bar type thing. Muttering to herself about how we made pretty good time, the engine's running smoothly, but just not really like talking to anyone in particular. Oh, maybe she's talking to Walter.
So, Captain, is it just the two of us heading in there?
Oh no, I'm going to be sending you with some members of crew. And he looks over at two people in particular and calls out, "Charlie, Devotion."
Yes, Captain.
I'll be having you two head in with them. The two of you should be able to help them navigate, since the
Charlie's just gonna
chambers
be
are
like,
unpredictable.
she's just gonna kind of be like, but I have stuff I gotta do.
Yes, I know, but it's good of you to get off the ship every once in a while, Charlie.
Does the like petulant teen like huff? Stupid rock.
One of the
Get
other
that-
members of crew comes over with these talismans that look like they have small skulls hanging off of them, by like kind of like a shrunken head, except that it's clearly a skull, and the hair-like structure is like attached directly to the skull, to where it hangs onto a belt loop. And both of them seem to be putting out a little bit of green smoke. And the crew member hands one to you, Devotion, and another one to you, Charlie. These are your wayfinders. The smoke will go more intensely green the closer you are to the center, and will start turning red and more intensely red when you are coming back out.
Ah,
Interesting.
So I would imagine they're fairly red right now.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a little bit of things. You're kind of you're pointed towards the caves, but when you turn around and start pointing yourself like further towards like your engine room and whatnot, then it starts turning red.
Okay. So is there anything you can tell us before we go in? Anything we should keep in mind besides what you told us
Okay,
yesterday?
I guess I've forgotten about Jack Sparrow's compass. uh, yes. Make sure you have something to trade to give in lieu of the treasure there. And make sure you come back with some of the treasure from the hoard inside.
Kevio is going to kind of do like a little pat of some of his pockets and just kind of mentally go through what he has on him, kind of thinking skeptically.
Yeah, Layla's gonna do the same, but she's gonna place a hand on her chin and just start thinking. I think I have some things. What about you, Kyvir?
Would I know what kind of things would be acceptable to trade?
Pretty much anything. Like you can put down like your weight in like random object, like a whole bag of ball bearings, for example, for some gems. If
So I
if
could
they
like
weigh
leave
the
my
same.
crowbar there as long as I take a crowbar's worth of weight.
Yeah, basically, you could do that.
Just leave a pile of parts of things that I've killed on the way in and just kind
Not necessarily.
kind of
So,
have to be like introducing it to the labyrinth, not so much
Charlie's
things
gonna
you find
run back
within.
downstairs and just grab a pile of scrap metal and come back up with it.
Broken parts off of the engine.
Yeah, pretty much. Just random scrap.
Quick point of
Failed
clarification.
Walters.
Is this like you replace the weight kind of thing, or is it like value?
From what I understand, both work.
I see. Okay.
Charlie's like, well, this
Physical
is really
weight
valuable.
or
It's
emotional
parts.
weight.
Charlie's gonna just start rambling about how like all these parts that she's holding like could be what they could be made into, and like completely just boring you guys to tears.
Kyvir is going to be listening intently.
About halfway
No,
through.
no, no. She's like autistic rambling about the things that this could become. Like,
Oh,
it's
he
gonna
doesn't.
go
He
on.
doesn't understand a damn word of it, but he's listening intently.
Layla,
Hmm.
give me a wisdom saving throw. Like hearing Charlie talk, there's just a seas of emotion in you as you suddenly realize you have no idea what happened to Sarah.
Yep. I was thinking of that.
Neither Sarah nor Wave are here, and in fact, Sarah vanished back when you were in the Amber Temple before you got pulled back out of here. So you have no idea what happened with her.
Look, we should get this over with, right?
Whenever you're ready to go.
I'm ready. Yeah. Is everyone else good? We good to do this?
Kyvir is going to kind of stretch his wings and nod, and then just kind of like lift himself into the air.
Alrighty then. Hold on, let me
I
find
think I have all my
key here.
shit set up.
Okay,
Can you
that's a
chuck
weird
me a
sound.
random NPC sheet for my Eldritch Cannon?
Ah, sure.
What?
Those are fun.
I love that name.
Yeah, just put it in my companions.
Oh, let's see. Once we get there, I will actually subtly cast Mage Armor. I'm actually going to spend a sorcery point so they don't see me cast it.
Sorry, I'm trying to find your sheet. Ah, there we are.
Kyvier kind of like hooks the hood of the cloak up over the back of his horns, and his image kind of like flickers as he walks, seeming that he's kind of like moving about in different space as he moves.
All right. Soon, you find yourselves getting off of the Dauntless, and the four of you make your way inside the caves through the open mouth. Inside, you can hear the sound of the occasional dripping of water and the soft sound of bats screeching that their caves have been disrupted even the smallest bit. But at least they're not coming down off the ceiling to attack you. They're more like shouting, get out, button bat.
I don't speak bat. I don't even think Kale spoke bat. He could be a bat.
Really don't speak bad.
I could probably talk to them, but we don't need that, right?
I mean, you can always ask them the way.
I hold up my wayfinder and say, "This is the way."
Yeah.
Well,
You turn it this way and that, and eventually one of the paths lights up a bit greener than the others.
you've got the Pathfinder or the Wayfinder. Lead on.
I knew it. I have to be up front. Which way does the thing tell me to go?
This is just a random battle map that represent the caves. This is mostly just theater of the mind.
Oh, I see. So I just start heading the way at this point.
Yeah. I just like to, so as I said, this is like a randomly moving a cave that's never the same anytime you visit it. It's like, so that there's no real map for it. It's just, here's what you see in front of you. And you see in front of you a few tunnels heading down. One of them seems to be a bit slick with water. Another one, you can definitely smell that the bats have called this one home for some time. And a third one, which seems to have a bit rocky soil.
Kyvier's going to be
Your
looking
way,
around to see if
your-
there's anything out of the
your-
ordinary.
These are all seem to be leading to the same direction ultimately, as your wayfinder doesn't seem to be distinguishing between the three. What'd you say, Kyver?
He's going to kind of be looking around, seeing if he can notice any traps.
All right, give me an investigation check. You don't see
Well.
anything.
Beautiful at perception, shit at investigation.
Hmm.
Fantastic.
Oh, I'm gonna put Walter on help action on me. Actually, I'm gonna help Walter perceive because Walter's got better perception score than I.
Why are we rolling perception?
Just because we can. Or actually, let's see. I'm just gonna have Walter help me in. I don't know. What am I supposed to do here? Investigate. I mean, Charlie would be poking around, doing shit. That's with Walter helping. Finding rocks. Shiny rocks.
All right. So, looking around, you definitely see that there seems to be something in that gravel, in the more dusty, gravelly path. And like it seems to be like maybe some kind of string or rope that's just barely perceptible under the ground, like something that could cause a tripping hazard. Uh, the
My first instinct is to pull on it.
the
Oh,
the
what's this?
the more clear tunnel seems a bit slick, and it's possible somebody might slip and fall on it and start sliding down, which means that it's also potentially hazardous. If you're looking for a path that has no potential hazards other than the stench and possible disease, the bat tunnel looks fairly clear for that.
Yeah, I'll point those out. I'll be like, weird string, slippery, smells bad, but probably our best bet.
Probably our best bet. What do we think the odds are on that disease thing?
Are you asking me, or do you talking in character?
I was asking you. I was just out of curiosity. Like, we're walking through guano.
Roll a medicine or nature check. You know what? As long as you're not trying to eat it or take it into your hands before eating something or like touching your face and whatnot, it should be okay. Now, of course, if any of the bats are infected with something and then fly down and start biting because you guys are interfering with their tunnel, maybe going sneakily is the best option.
Okay. So, how capable do you guys think you are of being quiet?
Never tried to be sneaky. I can always try.
Okay, trying's good. Charlie?
Charlie's just gonna shrug. She's like, oh, that's not really my thing, but I can try.
I just say try. I'd rather not deal with the bats.
He's just like,
Okay.
I could just cast shatter at them and they could all go boom.
I mean, yes, but we'd also alert everything else in the cave that we're here. It
Gotta
very
get
creative.
serious for like a half a second. She's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it already knows.
It already knows.
I mean, this place is, I think it's kind of like a thing. It's always changing and weird.
Okay,
She
yeah.
shrugs and she's
Roll perception checks, everyone.
perception. Walter, help me perceive. Touch.
Nothing there.
I'm helping Walter perceive. Walter and I are best friends. We help each other do everything.
The uh, Kyver went full robot again. Okay. I'll give him a minute. Come back. Sorry, it took me a minute to notice that. That's the problem with the thing not always doing the ding noise when somebody joins or leaves. So, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Pretty good. Hoping to not get eaten by bats. We'll see. I'm interested to see this treasure hoard. I want to know what we're looking at here.
I thought about what might be fun for initial adventure here. And I thought that doing this adventure that I've been tossing around for a while, like I had an idea for it as a one shot at one point, and I'm going, when am I ever gonna get people to do this as a one shot? I was like, I could do it with some complex maps, or I could just say thing. But then when started reading up on the Domains of Dread, I'm like, ooh, if I put this in the Domains of Dread, I don't have to worry about drawing a map that you then have to painstakingly follow. I can actually improvise it because it constantly shifts, and no two times would be the same trip.
I am back again.
Yay,
I don't know
welcome
why
back.
it keeps happening. I have to keep like bouncing my router when it does that. I don't know why.
Okay, so perception check.
Perception check.
Yep.
I click the button. 22.
All right. So both Walter/Charlie and Kyver, you have this undeniable feeling that something is watching you, but not in the room. Like you can just feel that someone is aware of your presence. It's like right at the between your shoulder blades and whatnot.
Charlie's just gonna shiver and be like, "Yeah, somebody's definitely knows we're already here."
That is probably to be expected. So which way do we go?
Guess we're gonna try to sneak down the bat tunnel.
Sure. Try being the keyword.
Alrighty then. Stealth time.
Oh, well, here it goes nothing. Oh yeah. Charlie just drops a whole pile of she drops some of the scrap metal she was carrying.
Jesus, Layla's gone. What the hell? What the fuck?
Sneaky hours.
Fucking what is that? Expertise? Jesus.
You do hear some unhappy screaming up on the ceiling, but thankfully group stealth check, which is what this part is about, balances out enough that they do not wake up. But it's probable that any small more movement than this would get them riled. So you manage to emerge on the other side of the bat tunnel, feeling yourself slip down a bit and everything opening up more, and finding yourself in a more wide space with more sounds of dripping water. You see that you are on a slight plateau of sorts. Slightly more open area, but with water dripping down the sides of what looks to be the cave down a huge drop-off of sorts. You see that only one other tunnel has reached down here. It looks like it was the tunnel that you saw the string in. You don't know what happened to the other tunnel that looked like it was more of a happy fun time slide.
Probably a happy fun time slide to death.
I wanna go down the happy fun time slide.
Go ahead, go have fun. We'll be waiting.
Yeah, go sneak back.
So,
I shall see you in the afterlife.
well, you don't see any immediate exit other than possibly going back up that other passageway. You do see what appears to be 4 levers affixed into the ground. They are tall. They're about 3 feet tall, so that they could be operated by various sized beings, and look like they have been affixed in the ground for some time. What would you guys like to do?
Okay, guys. First instinct is to pull all of them. I know it's a very bad idea. So,
I'm gonna have Walter help me look at these levers. I'm gonna do an investigation on these levers.
All right.
Walter, don't fail me.
All right. You check them over, and because you're a mechanical type, you can evaluate them for wear and tear and use and other such things, and realize that while all of them have been moved at some point or another, only 2 of them have been moved more frequently than the others, to indicate that most likely the best ones to pull, and in which direction to pull them in.
Oh, so once she realized that, she just kind of like, without saying anything, just do it.
All right. The floor in front of the levers, not on the side that you're on, but on the opposite side, suddenly drops away into a slant that seems to snake downward into the darkness.
Another happy fun time slide?
Possibly. What would you guys like to do?
I'm going to go down, but like do it by flying. I don't trust the slide.
I'll pull my staff and I'll use it to ground myself. I'll start heading down carefully. I'll keep an eye out for any like loose or taut strings. Make sure I'm not activating anything.
All right. Devotion and Charlie?
I'm just going down the slope. Why not?
Yeah, same here.
I did
Yeah.
the levers right.
Yep.
There's no danger anymore.
That's right. Danger whatsoever.
Slide down, and it feels like you're going in a corkscrew, which actually made it very difficult for Caver to continue to fly, because everything was just too tight in for his wings. But eventually reach it down below, more solid ground. Bit of water around your ankles, and what looks like 3 more passageways, but only 2 of them give you the green smoke, whereas the other one just gives you red.
Alright.
The 2 that give you the green smoke, one looks like it's vaguely lit and iridescent, but it seems to be twisting and turning. It's a bit wide. The other one is a bit narrower and rather dark.
Are you all able to see in the dark?
Yes, I can see as well as you do, obviously.
I say that we take the darker path. It is more concealed, less open for something to be seeing us.
Oh, whatever exists here already knows we're here.
I don't think it's one of those things that can't see in the dark.
Perhaps not everything in here already knows we're here.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I know the thing knows we're here. It's just that open space is really ominous. I don't know. It doesn't feel right.
Ah,
So you head down the darker path?
yeah.
Sure.
Do you just walk, or do you attempt to stealth?
It'd be best to stealth.
I'm going to strongly recommend we try and stealth.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Not bad.
Charlie?
And our noisemaker?
Yeah, hold up. Stealth. I wish Walter could help with this, but he cannot.
Not bad.
No, he can't.
Well done.
Alrighty then. Yeah, there's not enough room for you to fly here, Kyver. So you just
I'll
walking
just
along
walk.
the ground. All right. At some point, let's see. What's your order? Your walking order?
Kyvir can offer to lead.
Okay, sure.
Kyver's in front.
Sure.
Who's behind Kyver?
What could possibly go wrong?
I'm gonna go last because Charlie is distracted and like looking at stuff.
Layla or Devotion?
I'll go right after.
All right. Okie dokie there. Kyver, give me a dexterity saving throw. You suddenly feel, as you're stealthing along, your ankle catching on something all of a sudden.
Ooh.
Spring!
Oh, dexterity save.
Yeah, Devotion will also need a dexterity save.
Okay.
So, Devotion, do you go forward towards Kyver to try to knock him out of the way, or do you dump back as the ceiling seems to be collapsing on top of you?
I'll jump back.
All right.
Fuck the new guy, I'll save myself.
Hey, well, you don't know much about devotion yet, so you don't know why she did that.
Rocks fill the tightly packed corridor, blocking off the sight of Kyver from the rest of you. Kyver, as you're somewhat buried under rocks, let's see, you're going to take... How much damage? Need to be able to see my screen, Lara. You take 25 points of damage as the rocks bludgeon you.
Ow.
The passageway
squishy.
The passageway is now effectively blocked, with Kyver on one side and the rest of you on the other.
Charlie's just gonna yell, like call out, like, "Hey, remember, there's traps!"
Little late for that, but thanks.
You can't actually hear her.
Oh, that's fun. Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna call out. I'm not too sure if you can hear us. Just keep going in that direction. We'll go the other way. I hope he heard us.
If he didn't, well, then it's his loss.
Well, let's just see. The other one is heading in the same direction. Yeah, it looks like your talisman said so.
Yes. So we'll go the other way.
Maybe we should check for traps. Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know how to check with traps. Do you know how to check with traps?
Charlie just holds up Walter. She's like, "All right, Walter, let's do this." She's just gonna like use him to do the help action to look for traps.
Just throw him down the hallway, try to spring any traps.
Yeah, pretty much. No. He's gonna help investigate for traps, I guess. And we have to hope that my +5 and no proficiency is enough.
You know, and you already rolled. That's going to give you guidance, but I can't now.
All right.
I'm gonna roll one more just in case, because I technically have advantage. But I don't think I can do much better than that. Nope, definitely did not do.
Go with the first one.
Yeah, we'll go with the first roll.
So yeah, you find yourself going down the more brighter lit, wider passageway, and you don't find any traps, but you do find a skeleton. It's kind of laying there on the ground.
Is it not a good idea to touch skeletons here?
Always fondle the skeletons.
That's up to
Do
you.
I recognize it as someone we sent in here and that didn't make it out?
Well, they're just bones now. So
Yeah, but
no.
like, are there any items on them?
Give me another investigation roll. Check around the dirt.
All right, Walter, come on, let's investigate this guy.
Guidance.
So whatever guidance is an extra what?
Die 4.
19.
All right.
I think I have like something else that I can use too. I have like that, or maybe I don't have that as this. Flash of Genius. I don't know if I get that as this. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Or maybe I'm not the right level for it. Sorry.
So you do find about 5 gold coins in a rotten pouch, and you find a talisman identical to yours.
Oh hey, look! This is one of the guys that didn't make it back.
Yeah.
She sort of shakes the talisman and then hands it to Layla since she doesn't have one.
It starts
I'm assuming it
glowing
still works.
green down the corridor.
There you go. In case one of us dies.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
She seems like way too cheerful about this.
Uh,
She's gonna dust it off. We're gonna dust off the death. Yeah, okay. We should go check on that new guy, Kyber. We should go check on him.
And then she hands Devotion the 5 gold, and she's like, I know you like shiny stuff. This is useless to me.
but don't we need to replace it with something now?
Ah, that was his treasure. That's the big treasure at the end.
Okay. Thank you. I do like shiny coins, of course.
Alright, so yeah, I guess we continue on to I will continue to check it for traps wherever there are traps to be checked for, so just I guess whenever you think I need a trap roll, like whenever we get to a new corridor or whatever.
Will do. Kyver, are you still alive?
Yes. I am still alive.
All right, thought so. Yeah, you couldn't hear your companions. You have no idea what happened to them. You don't have a wayfinder. You're hurt. What do you wish to do?
He's gonna kind of like dig at the rocks a bit to see like if it's just like, oh, there's a few rocks, or if it's like a huge massive pile. If that doesn't get him anywhere, he's just gonna head off down the tunnel.
Give me a strength roll.
Sure.
You managed to shift a few rocks, but it looks like a good portion of the corridor seems to have been filled, from what you can tell.
All right. He's going to collect some like baseball, softball sized rocks and head down the corridor, like throwing them in front of him. Just to like trigger anything in front of him before he like gets to it.
All right. Out of curiosity, how much health do you have left?
46.
All right, so you're just a little bit bruised and banged up. Maybe some blood. Probably not limping though. Got it.
About a third of the way. Just pretty beat up, but nah, fuck it.
Yeah. So eventually, the two groups find themselves in the same wider room. This one just doesn't seem to have any drop-offs like the previous one. No longer seems to have any water situated on the floor either.
It is good to see you guys again.
Yeah, are you okay?
He kind of dusts off his jacket and kind of like pops his shoulder back into place. I've had worse.
Do you need healing though?
It would be appreciated.
Sure. And she's gonna reach out a hand if he wants to grab that.
He just takes her hand, kind of wiping a little blood from the corner of his mouth.
Yep, and she'll cast Cure Wounds. It's not a lot. It's probably not going to fix you up, but better something than nothing, yeah.
It is appreciated. Thank you.
All right. We found another one of these, and she's going to pull out the talisman. Found one of the old crew, I guess.
Does not go well, but alright. In case the other two get lost or destroyed, then we have a spare. He's gonna kind of look around for the progression through the caves.
Alright. There seems to be one tunnel, and you can hear the sound of what sounds a bit like a waterfall down that way.
Would somebody better at finding traps like to go first?
Charlie just sighs. He's like, "All right, come on, Walter." And like, so yeah, we'll do our thing. Forgot that I'm a prepared spell class now, the cast, so I had to,
He's gonna he's gonna stick close behind her, and like if anything's triggered, he's just gonna like grab her and just get the fuck backwards at full speed.
Alright. Just as you're about to emerge into that tunnel, two shambling figures, about the size of dwarves, covered in water, start approaching. What do you do?
Hi. that's what I'm doing. I'm saying hi to him.
Anyone else do anything?
Kind of keeping a slight distance and looking them over, trying to perceive if they're going to be a threat or not.
Yeah, I'll avoid them unless they get hostile.
Yeah. Charlie would probably just babble like, "Hey, hi, we're just visiting as part of the trial. Like, take some treasure, leave some treasure. We'll be out of your way soon." She's
Right.
like just talking to them like they're like, because I'm pretty sure that Captain said that they technically don't attack unless you fuck with stuff, but I don't
Yeah. What you
if that's
see
100%
as
true.
they're passing by is some kind of undead dwarf. Two of them. Water is dripping from their scraggly beards. The skin is mostly peeled from their faces. But they seem to be heading for the tunnel that Kyver came from.
Huh.
Oh, motherfucker, these are reset guys, aren't they?
He's like, "Oh, that must be the cleaning crew."
Yeah, they don't attack you. They don't even seem to notice you're there.
Charlie's gonna throw some confetti on them as they go by.
You're welcoming them to the crew? Yeah.
No, I'm just rewarding them for a job well done.
Oh, I see.
Kyvier will nod respectfully as they go past.
I just smirk at them.
Well, shall we continue down the path?
Yes, you're in the lead. Go ahead.
And as long as I didn't see anything bad with my 18 investigation.
Correct. You didn't say anything bad. Just the undead dwarves that came by. But no evidence of traps.
Kyvier's still going to be ready to pull Charlie back if anything happens.
Yeah, great. I'm a super squishy artificer, and I get to go first. Woohoo!
His wings are literally like raised in the I'm about to like do a full back flap motion.
Yeah. So you continue your way down this new tunnel till finally you come to the waterfall. which seems to be covering the exit to the tunnel. It is difficult to make out exactly what's beyond it, but from the sound of the plummeting water, is that beyond it is a much larger, expansive cavern, probably filled with water, at least to some level. What do you wish to do?
Waiting for them to go forward.
I mean, if I need to check for anything in this room.
Well, you're not really in a room. You're at the tunnel entrance that leads out into past a waterfall, but the waterfall is dense enough that you can't see past it easily.
I will check what I can see, I guess.
All right. No traps or any hidden mechanisms here at the end of the tunnel.
I'm gonna
So, yeah, I
take one
guess-
of the rocks and kind of like toss it through the waterfall just to see if breaking the water does anything.
Yeah, breaking the water just seems to act as normal, and you can hear a like plunk as the rock hits the deeper water on the other side.
Charlie, if Charlie doesn't see anything that looks dangerous to her, she's just gonna move forward because she's kind of like just happy-go-lucky like that.
All right. She
Sure.
becomes drenched, and moving forward, there is a little bit of a drop down into a vast pool of water. Once she swims back up to the top of it, and possibly gets onto a rock a little ways away, you can see that there's a structure in front of you that looks like it used to be pieces of a ship that have been broken apart and reassembled into some kind of lodging.
First things first, she is prestidigitating Walter dry so that it doesn't get rusty.
Uh,
Doesn't seem to care about herself, but you know.
There
Yeah.
are rocks where people can pull themselves up some out of the water. There are a few rope ladders scattered about. And
Kevin,
there
just
are the
gliding
occasional
right
shiny
on.
thing down into the water pools, especially underneath of where the waterfall is.
uh,
Do the rest of you come through?
yeah, I'll go through.
Kyrie's gonna use his wings as kind of like an umbrella as he goes through before kind of shaking them off and tucking them away again.
Yeah, with the weight of the water on your wings and being pushed down, you really don't keep yourself dry because there's there's a drop underneath of it that's not. It's not so far of a drop that you can spread your wings out and fly again. But it's enough that you splash down into the water.
Uh,
He kind of makes like almost like a cat getting wet noise of shit.
no, it's water.
Charlie just laughs at her. She's like, "Get used to it. You're gonna be riding on a boat. It's all water."
Along with the rope bridge, the rope ladders and stuff, there's the occasional brazier of sorts that's hanging down. That seems to be made out of bone, but that has some kind of fire burning into them at various intervals, lighting up this entire cavern area.
It's a brazier,
Brazier.
not a brazier, because that's a bra. They're bone bras all over the walls.
I can't wait to meet whoever lives in there.
Brazier. Sorry, I am really bad at pronouncing words.
Just the imagery of the like skeleton like bras like.
So many people pronounce it that way. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kyrie's gonna fly up and inspect the fire in one. Just kind of see if it's like normal fire, if it's some kind of weird like magical.
Give me an Arcana check.
Fuck.
Damn.
That would be a no.
You have no idea what's causing the fire.
He just like stares at it for a moment, like a moth into a flame.
Roll perception check.
Fine, better at those.
You notice that there is something shiny down in the pool that you actually lifted yourself up from. Like you can see down, you can see a bit of bone and what looks like something really shiny and metallic down there.
He's curious. He's gonna dive down and investigate it and just kind of see what it is.
All right.
Not touch it or take it, but see what it is.
It seems to be some sort of shiny sword. Unmarred by the water that it's been laying in.
Does it look more like a short sword, long sword, great sword?
Looks to be a longsword.
Hmm.
You also notice that there is lying in proximity to a skeleton that's there at the bottom of the water.
Interesting. He's gonna swim back to the surface and kind of point it out to the rest of the people. It is an interesting find, but I am not much of a longsword user myself.
Does it count as the treasure? Do we have to replace it?
I am not sure. It was laying next to skeleton. It might have been.
Would Charlie know that the treasure that he mentioned is the vault at the end?
Charlie
this before.
and Devotion would both know that. Yeah, that this isn't the vault room.
Charlie
was-
would just be like, everything's fair game until we get to the vault room, as far as I know.
Everything?
As far as we know, you could always try it and see.
Fair enough. Kavir will dive down and kind of look around for any more shiny things and kind of like collect the sword.
Roll investigation.
Fuck.
Yeah, you don't find anything else as you're pulling the sword out.
I did not find anything except the sword, but it appears to be an interesting sword.
Ah,
As you lift it up and are backed out on a little bit of dry strand, you hear the sound of
oh,
something hissing and making a bit of a cry as two shadowy forms force themselves up out of the water and into the air.
oh.
Well,
I thought you said the sword was fair game.
Well, as far as we know.
Well, that's just beautiful, isn't it?
Now I gotta see if Walter shares my initiative. I don't remember.
Rolls are not in my favor tonight.
Shares my initiative, but takes its turn immediately after.
All right, Layla, you're up.
yeah, these wraiths, they look pretty hostile.
Yeah.
Would you say that's a fair assumption to make, looking at them? They're
Yeah.
about to... Yeah, alright. Bonus action, I'll cast Hunter's Mark on this fellow. I don't know if you can see that.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Major lag. Yeah, and I'll take a sharpshooter shot. See what happens.
Okay, damage resistance. So that is. Okay, it's 13 points of damage.
Okay, and then I'll take my second one.
As your arrow just kind of goes through the body of the wraith, and the second one misses altogether.
And that'll be my turn.
The wraith, having been hit by you, comes flying right at you.
Ouchie.
No.
Just sticks a hand right into your chest and starts pulling at your health. Con save, please.
Yeah.
Devotion.
All right. Seeing that, I will actually mutter a word, cast healing word on Layla.
Appreciated.
And that will be the end of my turn.
The Wraith goes right after Kyver.
It has disadvantage.
Yep, and misses. Kyver.
Kyver is going to kind of flap his wings to get into the air. And he's going to... Oh boy, monkey things. Let's see.
Monkey things.
Monkey things. Crazy, right? Shit, that takes...
Things that a monk does.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Nah, I don't want to
You
use
have
that yet.
magical fists, too.
Yeah, I have magical fists. It's crazy.
One of the great reasons to play a monk.
I'm
Your
going
hands
to...
count as magic weapons.
Yes. Alright. We're gonna fucking hit him. Da, 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 da. So it's going to be 2 unarmed strikes.
Okay, that second one hits.
And then it's going to be a... That's the bonus action.
How much does that second one do? How much damage?
8 bludgeoning.
Okay.
Magical bludgeoning, technically.
Yep.
Wait, sorry, I have the... Okay. That's an automatic when I use that. That's automatic when I use that. Okay. Alright. So then... Flurry of Blows, which is a 3rd hit, should be.
Alright, that hits.
Alright, so that's 12 bludgeoning, and he's pushed 5 feet back. Because of Crusher feat.
Can you display the text for that, possibly? Alright, that's interesting. Because it doesn't specify what kind of thing that is, that the Wraith technically isn't immune to that.
So it's pushed 5 feet back.
Mm-hmm. Which
And
is really weird for something with
it's-
that's partly incorporeal. But
Yeah, it doesn't specify against that, though.
yeah,
so
that's why I was looking
But
at that.
it's magic attack, so he's
Yeah.
still able to hit it, so he can push
Yeah?
it back.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's why I was like making sure it didn't count as like a prone or a grapple or anything of that nature, because those are things that wraiths are immune to. But since it doesn't count to any of those and is considered a special attack, that's different.
I'm going to then run over towards the other side of this wraith and be flying in the air. And that
Alright.
will be the end of my turn.
Charlie, what would you like to do?
Oh, Charlie is still trying to figure out the ins and outs of this class. So Charlie pulls out this ornate little pistol from her belt and shoots a scorching ray out of it at the one that's here, I guess. But sort of aims it and then like basically shoots spells as bullets. I haven't played like a caster that isn't a that guy, and I think it does 3 rays.
Yeah, it does.
And those are not with disadvantage. 15, 19.
Alright. Doesn't seem to do quite as much damage as you might hope. Perhaps wraiths are not badly hurt by fire.
Yeah.
Anything else she can do?
Anything? Or is it for? Yeah. And she just tells Walter to get him, and he does like a little he just spits a teeny weeny little thing out at it. I don't think he's gonna do anything. Oh, he's so cute.
Force. Ah. It takes full damage of force.
Yeah, there's very, very few things in the game that are force. Like the Helm Tar, and then something in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Layla.
Yeah, this guy's in my face. I'm gonna pull out my funny spear, and I'm gonna make 2 two-handed attacks.
Okay,
Oh, you
first
know what? I
one's-
forgot. I get to do an extra D8, I think, for my arcane firearm.
Question: would that second one be at advantage because I'm flanking?
Yes, that's why I'm calculating the damage. Hold on.
All right, nice.
Put an extra. Sorry, Grizz. Put an extra 3 damage on that dude. I
I will give you a minute.
No problem. I just forgot. Like I gotta learn this whole class.
32. 32 points of damage. Sorry. Every time people talked, my brain had to reset the mathematical calculation on that other one. All right. Anything else, Layla?
No, that's it.
All right. That wraith screeches in horror at being hit so often by Layla and attempts to drain her again.
It's a miss.
This time its hand does not reach its purchase. Devotion.
All right. I will see how much damage I can do to that thing. Probably none, but we'll see.
Alright, cold damage, constitution saving. No damage.
Definitely no damage. Bonus action, I will cast another healing word on Layla.
Alright. The wraith, let's see here. No, this wraith was last hit by Charlie. It's going after Charlie. Tries to grab at her and Walter and misses horribly. Guyver!
Might have hurt.
All right. I'm going to hit the crap out of this one. So that's going to be flanking, so it's advantage.
Yep. Hit, and you see damage on all 3 of those. Alright. The wraith lets out one final scream before dissipating.
All right. And then I'm going to fly directly over to this boy and just kind of get in its face. Just kind of taunting it.
And flanking with Charlie as a result.
That's my turn.
Charlie.
Boy, Charlie can't do anything that Charlie was gonna do because now there's somebody in the way.
What do you mean somebody in the way?
All my shit's like AoE, so you're gonna get AoE'd. So now I
Fuck
can't
it.
cast
Do
any
it.
of my spells. No.
I'm good at dodging things, don't worry. If I'm in the way, don't worry about blowing me up, it's fine.
So what do you wish to do?
I'm reading spell stuff because, like I said, I'm just gonna blow spell slots because why the hell not? I have no. Yeah, I'm gonna cast Thunderwave. 15-foot cube. So what are these squares? 5?
Yes.
Where's my square? Yeah, she's just gonna cast a 15-foot cube. Go. Thunderwave. We'll cast it at... Why not? We'll cast it at level 3, just to make it extra fun.
So it's a DC 15 con save.
Alright. It takes 10 points of damage because it is resistant to thunder damage.
So I take 10 points as well because I saved.
And you get... Well, if it failed, you get pushed 10 foot back. So if the Wraith would get pushed 10 feet back.
As would Kyber.
Through me.
Well, yeah, I guess. It's incorporeal. Would it just blow through him? I don't know.
Well, if he got to push it back, then it's incorporeal. We're using the same magic rules here.
Yeah, but that's his hands. His whole hand
Well,
isn't magic.
Kyber also gets pushed back anyway, so.
Yeah, but he didn't fail. He wouldn't. It's
I thought
only
he said
if he failed.
Oh, I thought he had failed. I'm sorry.
No,
Oh,
he
Jesus,
got a
that
21.
didn't
No.
work.
Alright, well. Yeah, the problem is if this thing actually phases through him, he's going to take damage. I don't want to damage him.
I can just fly backwards with it, I guess. Maybe? Sure, fuck it, why not?
No, he got in the range of my spell. He can take the damage. He said so himself.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm being a jerk.
I don't care. It's fine. It's not like he's gonna be able to hit me anyway.
So, what does Charlie do anything else?
What's his doodle is what's your doodle is gonna do his little spit attack again.
And that misses. So, Layla, what do you wish to do?
I will first bonus action move Hunter's Mark over to the next wraith. Kind of don't want to get closer to it, so I'm going to draw my bow. And we're going to take 2 shots.
Well, the second one is not on there, but you did enough damage to destroy it.
Yeah, I was about to say I forgot I cast that through my firearm again, which is another D8, but it doesn't matter. It is dead.
Yep.
I keep forgetting, like, because there's so many little shits that the artificers can do.
It's just so many added things that don't
Yeah,
auto
yeah,
roll.
it is.
It's-
There's too much
yeah.
shit going on. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle this class. I like my warlock, where I just like, yeah, Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast. That's all he does.
Form of Dread. Climb up a wall with spider things. Turn into a bat.
He doesn't get to turn into a bat anymore. He lost that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Now that Strahd's not his daddy anymore, he can't.
Well, he's following a different vampire. Yeah, Layla, if you, in Devotion, if you hadn't known, he was a warlock of Strahd the entire time.
Yeah, I feel like that tracks.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Things started clicking together.
Yeah, it's how we ended up in Barovia.
God.
He was running away, and he needed a patron, and Strahd reached out to him.
Guys, it was get eaten by wolves or let Strahd be my daddy. Except Strahd was lazy and never made me do anything to you guys, so
Kind of
he
him.
kind of forgot that he had a warlock.
He does that. It's actually canonical that he's
He got bored.
forgets
He's just
people.
like, that guy. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I wanted to wine, dine, and sleep with him, and he's over there. He doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
So all of that for the sword. I hope it's worth it.
Well, I don't know what the sword does, but
I didn't take Identify. I can detect magic if you want.
it probably is magical.
I mean, it'd be nice to know what type. You know, if you don't want to like attune to weird magic items in this.
Yeah, I mean, can we get a couple things before I cast Detect Magic?
Yeah,
So I don't waste the spell slot.
No. Yeah, we're good. Is everyone okay to keep going? No one got too hurt.
I'm injured, but I'll be fine.
I'm fine.
Don't
Yeah.
worry about me.
I'm not worried about you.
Charlie just pats Walter and like, we're good.
All right. What direction is the talisman sending us?
Charlie's
Well-
just gonna swing hers around above her head.
It's pointing directly at the converted ship.
In there, I guess. I'm gonna make sure there's no traps before we go in. Walter to, do his thing.
All right. So you check out the ropes, the rope ladders. Don't find any traps there. You climb up, and you start poking around. The various planking, and finally get up to the door. When you open up the door to peer inside at the hoard of gold and jewels and other things, you do notice that there appear to be some kind of mechanisms inside the what it could only be called the vault or hoard room that seem to be connected directly to the large skull that you see. Well, actually, it's not really a large skull. It's not like a giant. It's more like someone who is probably the size of a Goliath, but only possessing one eye, and all that's left is their skull. That's just sitting atop a chair in the middle of things, and you can detect that there's some kind of ropes or trap connected to the skull, and possibly more specifically, what appears to be a large ruby stuck inside the eye socket of the skull.
One-eyed Willy.
So probably not a good idea to take the skull or the ruby.
Does it look like it's something that could be trap wise?
It does look trapped, if that's what you're asking.
But could I disable it? Look like something I could disable.
You with your skill set? Probably. The mechanical chap, yes. In this room, you see various piles of jewels, of treasure chests with gold, various untarnished items, which are probably magical of various kinds. You even spot a cloak similar to the one that Kyver is wearing. This kind of like casually draped over a chair. There's what appears to be some kind of orb-like structure sitting in top of pile, possibly possibly nothing, possibly a crystal ball. All sorts of little potential stuff.
All right, so this is where I'm going to turn on my detect magic.
Kavir points to the cloak and goes, "That is a good one. I have one of those. They are fun. They are very useful."
For 10 minutes, I can detect magic.
Yeah, and you see various magical items among the horde. It's basically if you want to shift the items that you currently have that are magical, like trade one for one, you can get a new magical item of random roll that might actually be better than what you currently have. Like you can check the various items out to see what you might be able to acquire from here.
Artificer, so it's really hard for me with magical item. Like toys.
Well, you are dealing with an artificer, so robots.
Mm,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I think Devotion's going to walk around looking for a pair of earrings that might be worth 2 gold.
You're good at telling the worth of various items?
Well, maybe the weight of 2 gold.
Alright. Let's see what I can give you in earrings.
You know what I do want? Is there a bag of holding that I could get?
Give me a perception check.
Walter, perceive for me, Walter. I will help you, Walter. We'll perceive together.
I can give you some guidance to help you a little bit more.
Now we're good.
Yeah,
Walter,
you're good.
Walter.
Yeah, you spot what appears to be a bag of holding half sticking out of one of the piles of gold laying about the place.
And it's definitely a bag of holding. It's not that weird one that's going to eat my hand, right?
Give me an investigation check on that.
I gave you an arcana.
It looks like
That makes sense.
it's 99% chance that it's a bag of holding.
9% chance, huh? Alright, I'm sticking my hand in it. Does it eat my hand?
No.
Alright, so she will take her regular, like, satchel bag and put it down along with all the gold she has, which is 10 gold, and pick up the bag of holding.
As for you looking for earrings, you find a pair of looks to be ruby earrings, just sitting among one of the piles that probably weighs about the same as your coins.
All right, I'll take them and replace them with the 2 gold coins.
Alright, what do I have that weighs 107 pounds in my inventory here?
Huh?
There's no way that this shit adds up to 107 pounds. I think my weight is broken.
Well, a bag of holding is typically worth.
Yeah, I know. I imagine she's gonna be having a lot of crap, like, because she's a junk hoarder. So a bag of holding is, like, perfect for her.
What are the odds I find any magic bows here?
Actually, that's not that bad. A magic bow.
Charlie tells Walter to help you find stuff. You have to do, like, a perception check for it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlie acquired a bag of holding. And
Oh,
swapped it out for her satchel.
So the last thing I heard was there were a bunch of mechanisms and a bunch of magic items, and it was essentially if you wanted to swap out your magic items for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it all went to shit.
So, waiting for you to roll, Layla.
Oh, sorry. Perception and
Yeah, Walter's using help.
okay.
Every time you say that, all I can think of is get help, and especially since Walter is an alligator, I can just put little horns on him and pretend he's croaky instead.
We're not doing get help.
Anyway, you look around and you see a very nice looking bow of what looks to be like ivory and gold with like a gold handle and like ivory. I don't know what they're called exactly, but they're what you string the string to. That come off the handle.
I know what
The
you're talking
arms
about.
of the bow.
Yeah, the arms of the bow, the things that can be easily made out of antler. If they're like, if it's not just a curved bow, but it's a very pretty looking bow. And it just screams elvish make to you.
I see.
I can hear it. I can hear it scream.
I don't understand it. It's speaking Elvish.
Can I go pick it up?
Sure.
Just look at it.
And Charlie can tell that it's definitely magical.
Only other thing, Grizz, that I would look for would be a rope of climbing, because I think my athletics, that would be helpful.
Roll
Tried to
perception.
gauge.
Walter.
Yeah, you spot a 3-pound rope in the corner that you're pretty sure, considering it has a magical aura about it, is actually a rope of climbing and not just a regular rope.
Alright, so yeah, she'll swap out her coil of rope with the that in the hopes that it is equal value.
But also,
I just
oh, go ahead.
no. Sorry. Go ahead, Grizz.
What were you looking for, devotion?
No, I was just going to say I was going to tell Layla to judge the weight for the value.
Yeah. That is. The captain said it could be either or, right? Value.
Weight or worth? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I compare the weight of that bow to my regular bow?
It weighs about the same. Oh, by the way, Charlie, I forgot to mention when you were scanning around with your magic eyes, that ruby up and the entire skull itself really has an aura of magic about it.
Mm.
The earrings that Devotion picked up are not magical.
Do I get the idea that this skull is the thing that enforces the quote unquote rules in this place?
Is that
based
the,
on, like, the School of
22 Arcana check?
Yeah.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Not something I'm great at, and that's not with advantage.
Why are you doing so many wisdom saving throws?
I love
He likes to
to
punish
torment people. Oh, like my entire almost my entire Sunday party has now gotten in a madness from staring at a portal into the far realm.
Fair enough.
They're in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Okay. So Charlie, yeah, you're like looking around, getting the rope, and you keep finding yourself looking back up at that skull, and increasingly there's been this feeling of dread creeping into you until it's finally clicked. That's not just a random magical item up there. That's some kind of undead watching you.
Charlie's like, I think I know who's been watching us this whole time. kind of points at the skull, and then she's just gonna kind of nope out of the room. She'll leave Walter in there, but she just kind of steps out. Like, Walter's still gonna help people look for stuff.
Tiberius just gonna kind of wander around, not really touching anything, but just kind of glancing around, seeing if there's anything that would look useful, like to a monk.
Let's see. We've already got a robe, but of course you might be tempted by another robe. A belt. Now that might be useful for you. Or boots.
A belt?
Or boots.
Or is there like knuckles of any kind? I don't know if there's any knuckles.
I don't know if there's any knuckles. There's some bracers that would be pretty useful. I don't know how well stocked the room is, rarity-wise.
It's not well stocked. It has a few things in here that I'm like looking to see what makes sense / reasonable requests sort of stuff. But let's see. What is
If there's
here?
not a lot around, then you can just kind of look through, but if nothing really jumps out.
Oh, that's right. So you see a pair of fancy green boots sitting in a corner. You see a small, interesting looking bag. Like not a bag of holding, but like a tiny little like coin pouch sort of bag. And you see a let's see what's the other thing that you see like laying about in the piles. Oh, you see another pair of of what looks to be like little shoes with like a spider motif on them. And you see a belt with the face of a dwarf on it. Of things that look like potentially interesting to a monk.
Belt with the face of a dwarf on it. He's gonna go over and investigate the belt and the coin pouch and try to see if he can tell what they are.
All right. Yeah, the belt looks
Walter
like
does try to help, so if he has to make a roll.
you
I
could
don't
roll
know
an
if Walter-
Arcana check on either of them.
I don't know if Walter can help with Arcana.
The belt just looks like it has the face of a dwarf and a helmet with a nice beard on it as the buckle of this belt. The bag, as you pick it up, definitely does not have coins in it. It has something else, and as you open it up to look, you notice that it seems to have beans inside.
Oh, goody.
Oh no, are those beans?
Oh boy.
Not as
Oh, can
horrifying not as destructive as to a party as the deck of many things, but very entertaining. So
Are they the
man.
beans that Will keeps finding?
yeah,
Those kind of beans?
yep. That's because the traveler likes to mess with him, and so constantly sips some beans. Oh yeah,
so
I think
tempted.
Layla still has one of them.
No, we threw it and it was frogs.
Oh, that's right. It turned
don't
into
know-
frogs. I forgot
yeah.
about that.
That was like
Oh,
way early in the Strahd campaign.
Yeah, we were fucking about in town.
I'm okay. I'm sickened but curious with the beans. He's gonna think for a moment on what he would have to trade.
Give me an intelligence check if you would like suggestions.
It's not gonna go well, but I can try. I think I already know what I'd do. Yeah, no. He's gonna pull out he's gonna pull out the small bracelet that he has. It's a small token that to remember his parents by. It's like a woven leather worn and stained by years of sweat and work from his father. And he's going to carefully take the bag and set the bracelet down before kind of taking a moment of silence to remember his parents that he briefly knew as a child, before stepping back and giving a small bow to the skull on the throne and kind of heading towards the rest of the group.
Yeah, I'll just follow along.
So you don't want anything else, Division?
I don't think so.
And what about you, Layla?
Can I hesitate for one moment and glance over the room? Do I see any other items of elven make? Any boots or cloaks?
You do see a boots of elven kind.
Okay. She'll hesitate for a second and then she'll walk over and pick them up to judge the weight.
Off your regular boots.
Hmm.
Yeah, they just feel like nice elven-made boots. They could probably make you be very sneaky.
Yeah.
You don't say.
No.
Am I allowed to offer something of a greater weight? Is that acceptable, or would that also piss? And she's gonna nod to
You
the
don't know.
skeleton. Oh, okay. How my regular boots feel? About the same.
I would say so, yes.
I'm gonna switch them out.
You sit down, you pull off your old boots and slip on the very comfortable boots of elven kind.
She's gonna watch the skull for just a second. Not really sure what she's expecting, like approval or something. But then she's gonna quickly walk out.
Is anyone still staying inside the chamber?
No. Not anyway.
Kavir going to give one final glance at the skull and just kind of give a nod of, "We have come, we shall leave," and then head off.
All right. So everyone has left the horde unscathed. And you're standing up on the deck of the modified pirate ship. Your talismans are starting to glow red as you're looking back towards the way you came.
Yeah, let's get out of here before that guy changes his mind. She jerks a thumb over her shoulder.
Fine.
Yeah, maybe still keep an eye out just in case they're different traps, or I don't know if they put the old ones back.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Kevir's going to take one more look down into the water and by the waterfall as they're heading out, just to see if he notices anything else.
Roll a perception or investigation.
24?
You continue to gaze, but all you see is the skeletons that are laying scattered about in the water. And people
fair
not
enough.
as lucky as you.
Oh well.
Charlie's like, we send a lot of potential pirates in here.
You horrible people.
So, following your wayfinders back, you eventually manage to emerge back towards the Dauntless. The captain nods his head in approval as he sees your return and sees the new bag on Charlie's arm and the new earrings that Devotion has procured. It seems that you got to the heart and back in one piece.
Of course, we're good guides.
It was an interesting journey, but we have made it.
exchange for anything useful.
Depends on the definition of useful, Captain. I'd like these earrings.
And they are quite fetching on your devotion. But I mean these two, these
Oh,
newcomers.
Happen to have some luck. Happen to not have some other luck, but seem to go up. Found a long sword that appears magical, but I don't know what it does. If anybody on board is able to understand, or if I shall sit with it a while and try to get a feel for it.
And you? He looks over at Layla.
She's just gonna gently touch the bow on her back. I found a few things of elven make that I think will be useful. Yeah.
So you took the bow as well? I'm just double checking.
Yes, and I put my old longbow down.
Alright.
You didn't want to get
Kagur's
rid of
gonna
that
kinda-
weird cursed spear that you have?
Right next to my special blood spear. Blood spear means nothing. Don't worry about it.
Cursed items are the best. I don't know why people get so like freaked out about them. They're so much fun.
I mean, doesn't that one make you start howling like a wolf or something weird? No. Thought it had some kind of weird property.
My blood spear?
Yeah.
No, I just had a little vision. Kavan sent me a little vision. It's fine.
He's gonna kind of go over and kind of like sit on the edge of the railing and just kind of start attuning to the sword to see what it does, unless somebody pipes up that they're able to just straight identify it.
Yeah, you soon see, as you're sitting there, you kind of see the ship just kind of turn about and leave this slightly lit space that, looked more like a normal cliffside, like you would see in any water, ocean or anything like that. And now have found yourself back into the sea of stars, basically. Back into the mists and darkness. Anyone else attempting to attune to items they have no idea what it is they've picked up?
Were these earrings magical? If they are, I will.
No, they're not magical. They're just mundane.
Okay.
They're just very lovely.
Ah,
I'm gonna follow Kavir's footsteps. If no one says that they can actively identify what the things do, I'll sit down and try to attune to the bow.
Yeah, I didn't actually take a spell. Maybe that'll be one of my next spells that I learned. Identify.
it's going to be a long time before devotion picks up anything like that.
Useful spells. Anyway, so after a short rest, you managed to identify the following items. The bow is an oath bow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I don't know
But
about how
she,
you
like-
feel it, but it uses the wrong way. It's almost a cursed item.
Almost, yes.
Poor Quintin.
Yeah. Have you been told the story about Quintin and the hag?
I have
No.
not. What is that?
Okay.
What?
His character Lunissa, had got acquired an oath bow. They were traveling through these dark woods where they were told that were hags and such, and she stuck away from the rest of the group, went on ahead, and spotted this old hunched lady picking mushrooms, and decided to just shoot her with the bow. This did not kill her. She vanished and went plane shifting. So he was stuck, unable to finish his oath. Her oath, until basically she died, until she was finally killed by something.
What?
She was
what?
unable to use the oath bow properly because she couldn't. Her target was still alive, and she couldn't find her target anywhere.
What
it had plane
is an
shifted
oath
away.
bow?
I
What
will
exactly is an oath bow?
I will grab a copy of it. Hold on.
Because if you just need to like kill your target, just shoot a fucking rat or something. Like,
Oh, you have to kill a specific target.
It's a fun thing. But that's like the good and the bad of an oath bow.
Couldn't he not like use other weapons because of it too?
warn an enemy until it dies.
I think he had to
Like,
rely on his monk skill because he was a monk rogue.
Yeah, but wasn't he not able to use his blades? He had to use the bow.
Yeah, like he had to do that or his fists, and then eventually he was killed and eaten by the bird.
Yeah, the thing that now has Kale traumatized for life by
Yeah.
giant birds.
In the same week as he was getting eaten by the rock, he gets eaten by a vulture-headed sphinx in another game.
Wait a minute. Wouldn't it literally just like not be able to be used properly for 7 days?
Exactly. He couldn't
The
use
target
Yeah,
of
he didn't survive 7 days.
exactly,
Oh.
and his target had invaded him because Melissa being an elf, the poor hag couldn't invade her dreams. And the one time that I was going to have her attack was when they were in the H.H. Holmes murder castle equivalent. And unfortunately, that was the time when he got Viren's feet destroyed. Oh shit! That was a fun session.
We're gonna cut those off. It'll be fine.
Well, he did. He's not your problem anymore. He decided to leave you guys and left you with a poor imitation of himself.
Yeah, we'll get him back, and then we'll cut his legs off.
Well, no. All you have to do to make him suffer is to tell him all the fantastic sights you've seen since he left.
That's what Kale's gonna do. He's gonna sit him down with some wine and just tell him about all the cool stuff you missed out on,
All the books, all the undead.
and then maybe try to bite him.
Sorry. So we got an oath bow. The sword that you have, it's just a +1 sword, +1 longsword. Just a basic magic weapon. But that's why it didn't corrode. And you got standard boots of elven kind and a bag full of magic beans, which I gave you a handout for under player handouts.
Some pyramids going.
Sorry, my brain completely zoned out. What do you say the sword did?
It's just a basic magic sword, +1.
Just a +1 longsword.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Now I get to go sell it to somebody who uses a longsword.
First, we have to find other people.
I know, right?
Damn.
That's what happens. But thankfully for you, that's where your ship is headed next. It will be heading towards a port. And before we close off the sessions, opening up the next session with arriving at a port, do any of you have anything else you wish to get done?
I'm so... Do I know how many beans are in the bag of beans?
Alright, let's make a roll for that now, shall we?
It's 3d4, I believe.
And roll that number. Let's see how many beans you have. There are currently 8 beans inside that bag.
I gotta read through the chart again because I don't know exactly the worst that can happen.
Pyramid.
Yeah, true. Probably the pyramid with the mummy lord.
The pyramid is just fun.
Yeah, but it takes up space. If you put
This
a
is true.
pyramid like on the boat, we'd sink the boat.
This is true. Oh yeah, my Sunday party has left pyramids in weird places.
Giant beanstalk out of the middle of the ship.
That one I haven't seen yet, and I'm excited to see at some point. I think I've seen like a whole bunch of the other ones. I've seen the statue appear several times. I said, and oddly enough, we've rolled several pyramids and at least 2 geysers that I can think of. But yeah, bag of beans is one of my favorite non-campaign breaking chaotic items to throw at a party.
He could probably just fucking kill you, but you know.
With what?
Fucking half the shit on here.
Hey, we just got some frogs last time.
Yeah, silly, goofy frogs.
Just a straight up hungry bullet. Just burrows up out of the boat.
I think it would be one confused bullet suddenly going, why am I in the middle of water? No!
That would be a very angry captain, as there's no boat.
Yeah.
Kavir is just gonna get up and nod to the captain before heading down to get some sleep.
Layla, have any more questions about your new equipment?
No, I think I'm satisfied. I will say, Captain, you said we're heading to a port. Is that where we're going?
Aye.
Where?
Well, that's a little bit harder to describe, but don't worry about it. The engines will take us where we need to go.
They always do.
Fair enough.
You're going to have to get rid of your old notions of geography. Things in the mists, they don't stay put.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that it's a little rough. But sure, I'll get used to it. If you need me, I'm going to head down and rest because I did get hit. It hurt, so.
Devotion and Charlie, is there anything else you would like to get done?
Nope.
No.
Alright, and I think that will be it for now. We'll come back next week with us getting to a port. I mean, not next week, in 2 weeks. With us getting to a port. And we'll go from there.